Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast with Dr. Modupe, your weekly dose of leadership vitamins to make you successful in Africa.
Hello and welcome to the Success in Africa podcast, episode 60. My name is Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, and I am a scholar and practitioner of leadership and organizational development. Simply put, I study what makes people successful. I have been studying this for 3 decades with a particular focus on people in Africa, and in this episode I will share stories, lessons, and insights about people having success in Africa. I created this podcast because I have a vision for Africa. I have a vision of Africa becoming a middle-income continent by 2030 and a high-income continent by 2040. And for that to happen, I need you and every other African watching or listening to this podcast to become successful. So, if you want to be successful in Africa, I encourage you to like and subscribe to this podcast. This episode is brought to you courtesy of BCA Online, the one-stop shop for mastering leadership. Joining BCA Online is free, and it gives you access to countless hours of knowledge, videos, and a plethora of information about leadership that will enhance your leadership capacity. If you have questions that you want me to answer after watching this video, just log on to BCA Online, the link is on the screen, and post your questions there. That is where I will respond to your questions. In today's episode, we're going to continue to learn about how to find success in a VUCA environment. That is an environment of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity by exploring the journey of a Rwandan industrialist, Jean de Dieu Kagabo. Kagabo is the founder of Soft Group and Soft Packaging. His companies manufacture toilet paper, straws, and packaging supplies that are useful to consumers, farmers, and other manufacturers. They manufacture from the Kigali Special Economic Zone, which is geared to make life easier for manufacturers by providing serviced commercial land, reliable and cheaper electricity, and frankly, by just having less red tape. He is hailed as one of Rwanda's success stories, and he's passionate about doing more, encouraging more entrepreneurship and local production, and solving more problems. Much of his passion comes from his background and journey, which was fraught with uncertainty, instability, and risk. You see, Kagabo lost his father during the genocide in Rwanda in 1994 while he was a young teenager. His mother died shortly afterwards, leaving him an orphaned teenager. Out of sheer necessity, he started doing business just to survive. He was never afraid of taking risks with his time and money. And at the age of 18, he used the little money that he had generated from doing some small trading to import one small Toyota vehicle, which he immediately sold for a small profit, and then bought some more and sold them. As he grew the number of vehicles that he would import to Rwanda, there were times when, frankly, he ran out of money. He ran out of working capital. He would purchase and ship the vehicles and not have enough money to pay for the customs clearance. When these crises would occur, he would market the vehicles and then get clients to pay him in advance on the vehicle, and then he would use that advance money to pay the taxes so that he could deliver the car. After doing this for a little while, he believed that, frankly, he could make more money in the fuel distribution business because there were more customers in that business. So he rented premises and bought fuel from Rwandan suppliers to resell. But this part of the journey was short-lived because as soon as the country began to stabilize, international, multinational fuel companies entered the market, and Kagabo rapidly lost his customers. However, he was able to pivot rapidly by turning his competitors into his customers. He thought about what these big multinationals needed and realized what they needed is transportation. to distribute their fuel to the service stations across the country. So what did he do? He leveraged his relationship with his bank to secure a loan to buy a truck and began to transport fuel. All of this happened while he was in his early 20s. Before long, though, the same multinationals began to operate their own fleet of trucks, and once again, Kagabo had to pivot to find new customers for his trucks. He found a customer in Bolore, Africa, in Uganda, and was transporting goods between Uganda and Sudan. But frankly, this was a hard way to make money. It was fraught with risk. It didn't take him long to realize that really the risk did not match up to the reward. And so Kagabo started looking for new problems to solve. On the encouragement of a friend, he flew to China with the idea that a country of 1 billion people must be a lucrative market for him to sell something to. He had the idea that he would find something lacking in China, some gap there that he could then, exploit by exporting from East Africa to China some kind of product. He wasn't sure what it was, but he said, let's go find out. Again, he was hunting for problems. While in China, though, he couldn't find a single product that was lacking. Everything was there. However, he discovered a machine for making toilet paper and realized, wait a minute, this is something that is needed in Rwanda. You see, Rwanda, most of the toilet paper in Rwanda was imported. There was a small local manufacturer, but frankly, they were so small they couldn't meet the needs of the market. Most of the toilet paper was imported. And due to the fact that Rwanda is landlocked, therefore, it had to be brought from another country, overland. And that made the toilet paper prohibitively expensive. Not so expensive that the people couldn't buy it, but frankly, more expensive than if you made it locally. So, what did he do? He went back to Rwanda, sold his truck, took the proceeds to China to buy the machine. Now, while he had the money for the machine, he didn't have enough to buy the raw materials. So, once again, Kagabo had to find another problem to solve. Luckily for him, he found, through his contacts, a Rwandan company that needed trailers to transport containers by road. And while in China, he found a manufacturer that manufactured trailers. So he struck a deal between them, brokered a deal for the purchase of 6 trailers, and with the profit from the deal, he had the money to buy the raw materials. Returned back to Rwanda with his machine and the raw materials, Kagabo hired workers, leased a small factory, registered his company as Soft Group, and started producing. I won't take you through all the challenges that he had of, frankly, training the people to learn how to do production in a new area. But one challenge that I will share with you that was interesting was he found out that breaking through in a small market is hard. Just simply having product that is cheaper does not equal sales. Let me say that again. Simply having product that is available and cheaper does not equal sales. You see, he realized the consumers were accustomed to a single brand and they weren't keen to change. So he had to pivot again, go door to shop owners and frankly convince them and give them his product on credit for them to sell and assure them that, hey, whatever you don't sell, you can return back to me, okay? You don't have to pay for it. He marketed his product and just simply worked at it so that eventually it started to get off the shelves. Luckily for him, the product was of good quality. And once consumers started trying his product, the word spread that, hey, this is good and it's cheaper. So eventually, he started to grow the business. And the business grew and grew. And in 2014, Kagabo moved his factory to the Special Economic Zone in Kigali. This was a big move because it allowed him and enabled him to greatly expand his business, not only in terms of the volume of product, but also in terms of his product range. He expanded into other paper and plastics products, especially including packaging. This was enabled by the fact that at the Special Industrial Zone, they took care of one of his biggest headaches: consistent, reliable, and cheap energy. By having this in the industrial zone, Kagabo was able to eliminate a good portion of his production problems and to expand, because the industrial zone has its own dedicated power supply as well as with backup generators. And frankly, that just really takes down the amount of volatility and uncertainty in a plastics and paper production or manufacturing business. So today, Soft Packaging and the Soft Group, they support various aspects of the Rwandan economy. They're a success story. They produce tea sacks, trash bags, plastic tubings, hermetic bags, laminated and unlaminated woven sacks, and toilet paper packaging, as well as drinkable straws and disposable paper straws. Kagabo has demonstrated an agility to deal with volatile, uncertain, ambiguous, and complex situations. And even as he has done that, he also recognized the need for some stability in order to scale his business. Hence the transition to the industrial zone and the focus on plastic and paper manufacturing. You see, folks, there are two main lessons I want us to take away from Jean de Dieu's journey. The first is the importance of recognizing that in a VUCA environment, agility is necessary, and it is achieved by being willing to take the initiative to ask for and find out what the market needs or what the gaps in the market are. Let me say that again. In a VUCA environment, agility is necessary, and it is achieved by being willing to take the initiative to ask for and find out what the market needs or what the gaps in the market are, and to pivot to that. The second takeaway is the importance of recognizing that while VUCA and agility are important to survive, that achieving scale requires stability. Notice I said stability, not stagnation. Growth can be stable, and sustainable growth requires stable environments. So even while staying agile to work and deal with VUCA conditions, seek out areas of stability and consistency that will allow you to scale your business. These are the two lessons that I want you to take away from the journey of Jean de Dieu Kagabo. We've come to the end of today's episode. I do hope you've learned a bit more about becoming a successful entrepreneur in Africa. Thank you for listening or watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like the video. Tell your friends about it. Together, we can transform our beloved continent of Africa. I'll see you next week.
Tomorrow belongs to those people who prepare for it today. See you next week.